I'm about to look like an absolute buffoon. Lads, I began my YouTube life back in 2016 when I somehow squeaked a weird job doing fan cams with the channel which must not be named. And I remember in the December of that year, I used to have to run the video ideas past my boss first. I had so many video ideas scrapped. One of them, I jotted down in my notebook, England squad for the 2036 World Cup. But this was before I showed much of my face on camera, and I remember that boss ate that idea with a spoon, telling me over Zoom that that was a stupid idea. Yeah, this is someone who suggested I do the best Gingers 11. But I just found my copybook, and I found the rough outline of the squad that I had written down already. So let's just see. Let's see what I predicted England's World Cup squad in 2026 would look like back in 2016. Right, let's go. Jack Butland. You literally couldn't make this up. Jack Butland is the reason I'm having a mud bath in this video. Jack Butland is the reason I'm going to have to end my day how Wayne Rooney starts it, bathing in his own filth and worms. I thought Butland would be England #1 by now, but I'm not that embarrassed. So did everyone else. Don't get it twisted. This teenage bloke whilst at Birmingham was hailed as the Brummy Buffon. Christ love, not only was he at the same Olympics that made Anthony Joshua famous, but here's a stat that will blow your mind. He went to Euro 2012. Yes, he was in Roy Hodgson's first squad. That tournament feels so long ago, and yet he was there. This is someone who was actively courted by Chelsea, and by 2016 he was in utterly stunning form for Stoke. I used to think Jack Butland was the bee's knees. So no, I'm not embarrassed, okay? This is not like admitting that I used to have a crush on the granny of Courage the Cowardly Dog. No, Butland was a brilliant goalie. I mean, imagine telling me back then, like 10 years after this video, that JB would be able to knock Jose Mourinho out of Europe just a few years after he had joined Manchester United. But also tell me that he wouldn't even be in England's World Cup squad? I would be more likely to believe that the Tooth Fairy ate my cat. Angus Gunn. Yeah, I seemingly didn't rate Jordan Pickford. The Sunderland #1 was squeaking his way into Gareth Southgate's first few squads, and yeah, this should have been a tap-in, but he was bottom of the Premier League, and I remember thinking that he looked like a mouthy little gremlin. So I haven't put him in the squad, no. I haven't included someone who's probably going to one day win his 100th England cap. Oh no, I've plumbed for Angus Gunn, who back in 2016 was a Man City under-18 rock star. Come on, he'd been playing England underage football for 5 years. What's happened since? He's lost a Premier League match 9-0 at home, which has made every other Premier League manager look at him as if he's just confessed to drowning puppies in the sink. He's now at Norwich, and he's actually an international #1 for Scotland. So, he might be at the World Cup. Joe Hart. Do I have Maltesers for brains? Honestly, like, what? What? I have to admit something, okay? I used to fancy Peppa Pig's mum, but I also thought that Joe Hart was world class. And whilst his England career was getting rocked by getting kicked out of Man City, I thought he was successfully fighting to save his career. He had taken a brave loan move to Torino. I thought Hart's England career would actually last 18 years. Having made his debut in 2008, I thought he'd be a perfect pro, third choice leader on the bench, with 150 caps to his name at 39. Yes, I thought he'd be at the World Cup just 2 months before his 40th birthday. Almost as a bit of an unofficial coach, like what David James was in 2010. Instead, his England career finished in 2017. He's now retired, destroyed his arms and tattoos, and I look like a donut. Kyle Walker. Yes, I got this one right. Yeah, back in 2016, Kyle Walker was a top quality right back in that exciting title challenging Spurs team, and I thought he'd still be around all these years later. I mean, I did not think he would have 6 Premier Leagues to his name though. If you told me that that was in his future, I'd have probably thought you were some insane nutter who eats cats. John Stones. Back in 2016, I didn't think John Stones could defend, so I'm surprised by this one. I thought he was a brutal £50 million flop buy from Everton, but apparently I still thought he'd be in the England squad 10 years down the line. I mean, I'm right, but I'm confused. I really didn't rate him. Jamal Lascelles. Oh dear. It says it right here on this piece of paper. Jamal Lascelles, England captain. I might as well have written,
I eat Simon Cowell's chest hair for lunch.
This prediction could arguably be used as proof that I'm about as educated as that sad, half-eaten cheeseburger in your bin. Wouldn't be surprised, last week I broke my toe by dropping a dumbbell on it. Not even joking, it hurts. I've ruled myself out of 4 matches this month, but I'm sorry, Lascelles was fantastic back then. Don't forget, this Newcastle United centre-back spent his early 20s being heavily linked with Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Manchester City. He'd just be made Newcastle captain at 22. Yeah, he's still captain now. Well, I mean, sort of. I mean, he's clinging to that official armband by a thread. He had been captained by Rafa Benitez, someone who once had Steven Gerrard as a captain. Yeah, I remember thinking that Lascelles was a future superstar. Back then, it looked like he was going to be sold to Chelsea, with Antonio Conte wanting him for the champions of England. I honestly thought that Lascelles was a future John Terry. I know, it's crazy, because instead, at 31, he has not a single England cap to his name, and he's just average chips. Boy, was I wrong about this. Rob Holding. Oh, dear. Holding was a 20-year-old centre-back who briefly squeezed his way into Arsenal's starting 11. But no, now he's 29 and on loan from Crystal Palace at Sheffield United. So I'm guessing there's more chance of Thomas Tuchel choosing to eat his own tongue in a sandwich than pick this guy, Joe Gomez. I'm kind of closer to this one, you know, because Joe Gomez was recently in an England squad only last year. But look, back when I made this rough idea, he'd recently joined Liverpool from Charlton Athletic. He was injured, sure, but he did have massive hype around him. And so yeah, I said he'd be the England squads by now. No, although to his credit, he is still at Anfield, on course to win his second Premier League medal. What is spooky, though, is that if you told me back in 2016 that by now he still wouldn't have scored a single career goal, oh, then I would have assumed that he must have retired at 25 to go sweep toilets at Pizza Hut. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's probably not going to make the England squad for the next World Cup. 10 years ago, he was an injury-prone beef burger who would probably have broken his thumb opening a tin of dog food for his pug. Now, it's the exact same. This 29-year-old Man United left-back is more brittle than your Aunt Susan. You know, the 83-year-old one who'd break her ribs just watching Trek. Again, Gomez is still at Liverpool. Shaw is still at Manchester United. And neither are going to the next World Cup. And it feels so bonkers. Danny Rose. Danny Rose! Danny Rose! Are you kidding me? Oh, I thought that England would be selecting a 35-year-old Rose for the 2026 World Cup. What? I can't explain this one, okay? When I made this script, Ryan Sessegnon was literally starting every week for Fulham at left back as a 16-year-old. Someone who would soon be tipped as a future Ballon d'Or winner at Barcelona. So if I didn't put him on the list, fine, I can explain that, but Rose? Look, back in 2016, he was a fantastic left back for Spurs. I mean, right, Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall are right now an incredible pair of English fullbacks who you know are going to be a fantastic double act for club and country for the next 10 years, right? Yeah, Walker and Rose were exactly that at Spurs. But so? To think he'd still be playing for England at 35. It's no more realistic than expecting Ian McKellen to play Gandalf when he's 102. Rose is retired and was last seen training with York City in 2023. I said he'd have the longevity of Ashley Cole. Instead, he appeared on TV dressed as Ashley Cole's ex-wife. Was he there to do punditry or was he to scream fight for this love? And nowadays, I don't know what he's doing, okay? He could literally be getting paid to dress up as Goofy at Disneyland. I don't know, he's in hiding. Where are you, Rose? Will Hughes. I should have known better. Because Will Hughes' extraordinary teenage hype at Derby County was more of a 2014 thing. By 2016, he was no longer seen as the next Stevie G. Although that summer, apparently, Mourinho wanted him. Yeah, Manchester United were closing in on Paul Pogba, sure. But Jose, he wanted Hughes to bolster the homegrown quota. But look, I did think Hughes was going to be this world-class midfielder by now. No. But I guess I thought he'd be a decent squad option off the bench, I think. But no, he's 29 at Crystal Palace and wouldn't even get an England cap now if he promised to brush Tuchel's teeth for a month. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Lads, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was the very first example of the modern pampered pro who didn't like Jose Mourinho barking at them. But I remember back in 2015, a teenage Loftus-Cheek was publicly destroyed after a pre-season friendly, with Mourinho basically accusing him of faking injury, of watching McKellen manage to do all the work in midfield.
With Ruben, it is one step back in my relations with him. If he doesn't know what it is to play for me and Chelsea, it's one step back.
Here was Jose basically saying that this teenage midfielder had the work rate of a fat slug. And yet here was me tipping him to play in a World Cup at 30. Weirdly, he's actually had a good career. But isn't it strange that an English midfielder is currently playing for the great AC Milan, but also hasn't represented England in 7 years? He played at the 2018 World Cup, but now Tuchel probably thinks his former Chelsea midfielder is now about as exciting as Turtle Juice. Ross Barkley. this one felt like a tap-in at the time. Come on, Ross Barkley had made his England debut at 19. Even by 26, he was arguably Everton's best player. He was always linked with the move to Manchester City. I absolutely thought that he'd be playing at this World Cup at 32. Of course, it's not that crazy a notion. This man was supposed to be a world-class talent. But now his England career ended in 2019. He since had such random moves to Nice, Luton, and can now be found eating Jaffa cakes in the Aston Villa treatment room. No chances he makes the World Cup squad. If he does, then I will eat popcorn out of a bin. Ben Woodburn. But he's Welsh. Are you telling me back in 2016 I was thinking Ben Woodburn for England glory? Look, Ben Woodburn was a Liverpool sensation back in 2016. He just became Liverpool's youngest ever goal scorer at 17 and 45 days when he scored against Leeds. I was outside the ground doing fan cams like a weird little weasel in the cold. Come on, this kid was stealing Michael Owen's record. And despite being a Wales international for the under-17s, there were huge reports at the time that the England FA were going to steal him, just like how they robbed Grealish. Yeah, 9 years later, he never made it at Anfield. He's now 25, playing for Salford City after being released by Preston. He hasn't played for Wales in 4 years and probably never will again. What was I doing? Dele Alli. This shouldn't be seen as a joke pick, okay? Because back in 2016, Dele Alli was the future best English player on the planet. He was off the back of an incredible debut season at Spurs. He was having an insane second season. He was linked with every European giant in the world. Of course I thought he'd be England's star man at this World Cup. So did you! Price above, he's only going to be 29. I mean, this man has admitted recently that he wakes up every day with a reminder on his phone for this World Cup. Yeah, I'm guessing he's soon going to be throwing his phone out the window. Because right now, I mean, his career is a nightmare. He's played 10 minutes in 2 years, where he's just being sent off on his Como debut. Back in 2016, it seemed unthinkable that Ali would one day be left behind for 2 World Cups on the bounce. But honestly, there's no way you get to see the Tuchel's playing. No way! Karamoko Dembele. No! 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 What is this? What? No! No! This is arguably the worst choice on the list. This was all because of one article I remember reading in my grimy little swamp in Sunderland. And that was that Karamoko Dembele was making his debut for Celtic under-20s at 13. Yes, 13 years of age. Seriously. What? A 13-year-old being good enough to compete against players who were legally able to order beers at a pub. It actually blew my mind, because back when I was 13, if you had thrown me into men's football, I'd have been bullied like a blind goldfish. I was actually tipping a 13-year-old boy to make England's World Cup squad 10 years down the line. It felt creepy. I was young in 2016, sure, but this kid, he probably still wore SpongeBob pajamas and probably used to bring an X-Men lunchbox to training. He looked like he was going to be the best player in the world. Unfortunately, he's not even the best player in his family, because his older brother, Sariki Dembele, was a Peterborough megastar who actually wound up playing for Bournemouth in the Premier League. Karaoke, bless his little socks. He's 22 years of age and on loan at QPR from Brest, which is ironic because when I made this prediction, that's probably what he was still getting fed from. Reece Greenwood, arguably my worst prediction of all time. Let me explain. Lads, I was actually at the Sunderland 18 versus Newcastle under 18 match in February 2015. And, well, most of the players on the pitch didn't make it. The biggest star by far has turned out to be Sean Longstaff, who, I mean, compared to the rest of the kids on that pitch, he's had a career like Zidane. But he was not the one who caught my eye. Oh no, sure, I laughed at his name, but no. The one I remember thinking, I even took notes on, saying that Greenwood was going to be a baller, a jinky, dangerous right winger with a beautiful first touch. This Sunderland teenage winger looked majestic. A future £50 million star. I mean, clearly I'm about as much as a scout as I am an evil teddy bear, because he's now 28. And does he play for England? No. He's retired at 28. Lads, this is someone who did make his Premier League debut for Sunderland in May 2016. He played nearly an hour against Watford. But since then, Gateshead, Falkirk, Spennymoor Town, West Auckland Town, Laval United in Dubai, IR in Iceland, and finally, Brighton and Crawcrook Albion. I said he'll be a future England megastar. Instead, Greenwood is just a normal bloke. Someone who probably gets asked for less selfies than Thogden's cameraman. Someone who probably spends every day eating chicken nuggets at Burger King. Look, this is weird. I'm well aware this is probably the first time someone has even mentioned this man on the internet ever. But wow, I really remember thinking that he was gonna do something. Raheem Sterling. You know what's crazy? This prediction is going to be wrong. Raheem Sterling England's career was wrapped up forever in 2022. That's it. He's never going to play a single game for his nation again after the age of 27, which seemed unthinkable back in 2016. Christ, well, he was the most expensive British player on the planet. He was in his second season at Man City. But yeah, now he's just a burnt out omelette at Arsenal. And this one is somehow wrong. How? Jonathan Lico. What? Even I don't remember writing this one. Lads, Jonathan Lico is still only 25. And I'm guessing most of you don't have a clue who or what he is. Well, lads, back in 2016, he had mad hype. He just made his Premier League debut for West Brom at 16. He'd soon become the first player born in 1999 to start a Premier League game. He was even pinching an assist against Liverpool at 16. He was the Baggies Young Player of the Season. He'd soon have a Golden Boy nomination. Honestly, people probably were no longer paying attention to West Brom hype because Saido Berahino had just wasted everybody's time. But yeah, I guess I fell for it. I don't remember falling for it, but I must have. But yeah, he's now at MK Dons on loan at Burton Albion. World Cup? World Cup? Did I have a snail at my nose? What a horrible prediction. Reece Nelson. Yeah, another Reece Nelson was seen as this huge 16-year-old prodigious talent at Arsenal's academy. And I mean, don't look at me as if I had onions for brains. Back in 2016, he scored 11 goals in 11 games for the England under-17s. Arsenal fans were talking about this kid as if he's the future Thierry Henry. But now, he's now 25, doesn't have a senior England cap to his name, and probably never will. And now has just spoiled his loan move at Fulham by destroying his hamstring before Christmas. Yeah, this is pretty garbage. Harry Kane. Well, this was a tap-in. Marcus Rashford. Oh, it's been a bumpy journey, but I'm actually proven right on this one. It looks like Rashford will make it, so yeah! So there we have it, okay? I got 4. That will probably be proven right next summer. Walker, Stones, Kane, Rashford. That's it. Reece Greenwood? Reece Greenwood? He probably eats 4 Big Macs a day. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know how bad you think that was. Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk shit a while, and if you'll excuse me, I'm off to have a bath. I have to keep my foot out of the bath because it's broken, but why, Rangers? Why? I've soiled myself. And there's a lot of mud in here too. Mourinho is still the best, okay? It was a fluke! Better Patrick should have won that second leg 5 or 6-0. You got lucky, Rangers! Jose will come again! I feel like Shrek. How am I gonna clean this? I have to get a plumber or something. How many people do you think are still watching at the end of the videos? If this is just a bunch of people at home on the internet watching me take a bath, that's really weird. If you're still here, it's your own fault. No one is here. Literally, I'm having a mud bath and talking to a cat. There's no one here. There can't be. This feels like someone's sitting on the toilet looking at me. Why are you still here?